listeners. Welcome to another episode of Romance Unraveled. This is one of your co hosts, Jacob Bozen.
And this is Jordan. I'll be here all month long with Jacob, chatting with y'all.
Yeah, he's the co host for this month, so we're pretty excited. If you listened to our last episode, it was his. So definitely take a look if you haven't heard from him yet. Today, we have another guest who submitted to come onto the show. His name is David Anderson. He lives on the East Coast, and I guess his by profession he marries people. So, David, I'll have you introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My name is David Anderson. I am the wedding chaplain. That's my company, weddingchaplain.com. Anybody that wants to look for me or find any of my resources, anything like that. But I'm a pastor, so I pastor a church during the week, but I do weddings. I've been doing weddings for about 30 years. I've done about 1,800 weddings. And so I've really seen kind of everything under the sun. And I'm excited to be on today because typically when I do a lot of podcast interviews, and most of the time I'm doing serious stuff. I'm talking about relationships or dating, the rules of dating, and conflict resolution, and how should you approach your engagement, things like that. And I was drawn to you guys because you really just were looking for me to tell funny stories, corny things that have happened to me, things that I have seen over the years. And so that's what I'm going to do today. So thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I remember
Absolutely.
when we chatted about like 2 months ago, I was laughing so hard on the phone when I was kind of getting, I guess, a preview of these stories from you. So let's get right into it.
Absolutely. Well, I guess one of those I start with, and I always start with this one because it was really one of the first weddings that I was a part of, and it ended with a very it just ended with a bad situation. So the wedding was it was a friend of mine who was getting married, and they were having their wedding in South Carolina, and it was at a church. And typically, when I do a rehearsal, when I go to rehearsal, they're not very long. Typical rehearsals maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Um, but this rehearsal got over 2 hours, and the reason it got over 2 hours was because of some conflict that was in the family. So when we get couples organized, there's really two ways to have people enter a ceremony. Typically, there's what we call the traditional entrance, where you kind of have all the guys walk in, then you have the family, like the parents and the grandparents, and then you have the girls walk in, then you have ring bearers, flower girls, and then typically you'll have the dad and the bride. That's the traditional entrance. The other way to do it is what we call a Midwest entrance, and we don't know where that came from other than the Midwest. So it just like Ohio, Indiana, somewhere around there. Um, well, this couple, my friend and his fiance, they wanted to do a Midwest entrance, and so they wanted to have a groomsman walk in with a bridesmaid, then another groomsman walk in with a bridesmaid, that whole thing. But what he wanted to do was he wanted his best man to still walk in with him, which would have meant that the maid of honor was going to walk in by herself. Now, the maid of honor was she was the bride's sister, and we did not realize this, but there was all kinds of heat that was apparent between the bride's sister and this bridesmaid. Uh, so she was kind of upset that we were making her walk by herself, and we couldn't really get it across to her. And she was I would say she was a little special in her ability to process what was going on, but she liked the best man. And so she was convinced that if she was able to walk in with the best man, that this would universally put them together. And so no matter what anybody else wanted, she wanted to walk in with the best man. So the bride's trying to talk to her, the family's trying to talk to her, the groom's trying to talk to her. I kind of tried to stay out of it, but this goes on and on and on and on, and we get close to the 2 hours, and finally this bridesmaid gives up. She's kind of sulking. We finish the rehearsal,
And it's just arguing for 2 hours,
just
essentially.
arguing. We're just
Yeah.
arguing, and so then we go. we think it's done. We go to the rehearsal dinner, which was at a very classy joint. It was at a barbecue place, and sort of a smoky barn. It had like the fluorescent pig out front, and had the steel guitar band playing, and it was cool. We were all having a good time. But somehow the bride and the sister got off into a corner, and we could see them talking. And all of a sudden, it felt like everything was slow motion because you could see them pointing and you could see them making big hand gestures, and one's pointing at the other, and eventually one's sort of digging their finger into the other one's shoulder. And so a couple of us decided, hey, we probably should go over there and split this up. But by the time any of us got over there, it was too late because the bride's sister made a fist and punched the bride right in the eye. And everybody's over there breaking them up. Everybody starts crying. The family starts crying, and I sort of realized very quickly there was a lot of backstory that I was not privy to, and they kind of made up. They kind of fixed it, but this poor bride the next day. There was no amount of Mary Kay that was going to fix it. She walked down the aisle with a black eye.
That is
It was
so bad. Oh
it
my
was pretty
God.
terrible. It was pretty terrible. It's all over wedding pictures. This was before Photoshop. I don't know if they've fixed it by now, but that was it. But um,
So when she got hit, was it loud? Like did
oh
everyone in
yeah,
the
oh you could
room?
hear that. You
Yeah.
could hear the pop, and you could hear the whole thing. I mean, the whole restaurant sort of shocked. Band stops playing. Everybody goes over there, and it's a huge scene. It's a huge scene. But apparently they fixed it, and they went on the next day, and who knows? But
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So that's the first story that
absolutely. So another walking down the aisle story. Um, we were in an outdoor venue, and there was a gazebo, and there were chairs sort of set up outside of the gazebo. Beautiful day, and the plan was going to be that I was going to stand inside the gazebo with the bride and the groom, and the groomsmen, bridesmaids. They would sort of stand on the outside. This wedding was scheduled to start at 4:30, and the bride was not there at 4:30. We had gotten word by text message the bride was on her way. Apparently, the bride she was the last one to get her hair done, which is a rookie mistake. If you have one hairdresser and you're trying to get everybody ready, you should always have the bride get done first. But she thought, well, it's special if I'm last, and so she was last, and everybody got behind. So she's late. She pulls up to her wedding. It's supposed to start at 4:30. She pulls up at 5:15, and she's not dressed. She gets out of the car and she's holding her dress, and she's just nervous. She's shaking, and you could just tell she is just out of sorts. Obviously, she's late, but she's all just normal jitters and all that. So she goes in. She looks wonderful. Hair looks wonderful, everything, and obviously it doesn't take too long to put the dress on. But it gets to be about 5:30, so we are an hour into this thing. They open up the bar, which is always a bad choice to just let the people start drinking before everything gets going. But we try to herd everybody back. 5:30, we start walking. Everybody walks in. It's all good. Um, and it's time for me to say, please stand. And it's time for the bride and her dad to come in. And I could see as they're walking, I could see this girl is shaking. And I've seen, I mean, everybody's nervous. I mean, everybody's nervous. A lot of times, this is a big emotional moment. People get teary, people get jittery, all this. But no, this girl was shaking. So they come down the aisle. They're playing the march. She's doing a good job. And typically, when you come down to the front, I'll say, "Hey, please just stop for a second. Wait for the music to fade." And then I'll ask that question: Who presents this woman to be married? And the dad usually says her mother and I. So that's how we rehearsed it. That's what we're shooting for. So they come down to the front and they stop, but before the music fades, she lets go of her dad's arm. And I'm like, hey, hey, don't do that yet. I mean, and I'm trying to sort of motion to her, whispering without, saying it out loud. But then she hands her flowers to the maid of honor. And again, like, hey, 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 settle down. But she's not listening to me. She goes over in front of this gazebo. There are these two bushes. Okay. And she goes over to the bush. She puts her hands in and she pulls the branches of these bushes apart and she pukes into the bush,
That's so
just
sad.
completely empties. And we're all just watching her. And it's not just a little I'm nauseous. No, she empties all of it. Blah, 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 blah. And we're just watching. We're just watching. And no one really knows what to do. She stands up. She kind of puts the back of her hand against her lips, wipes off her face, and says, "Hey, I'm good." And she stops shaking. And I was like, okay. And we go through with it. And we go, and it just, everything's fine from there.
That is
And
like the worst possible time to have
it
that
is the worst possible
experience.
time. She just lost it all.
Do you
But
think it
after
was
that, she
the,
was fine. I mean, I'm not the one that had to kiss her. So, hey, so
I guess so,
it
yeah.
worked out.
Do you
It worked
think
out.
that she was, I guess, nauseous because she was actually sick with something, or was it just the nerves for her? Do you
I think it was just nerves. It was just nerves. And I try to tell people, like, hey, it's not just like every other day. I mean, obviously, it is a special day. But I try. It's not. If you approach it, I get to stand next to the person I love. If you approach it like a UFC fight, then of course you're just going to be, jacked up beyond anything. But yeah, try to do everything you can to calm yourself down. But she just couldn't. She just couldn't. She just couldn't do it. So,
So after that
um,
point, when she was, I guess, like back to normal, do you think do you think it was simply because she was nervous to get married, or is because she wasn't sure really if she should be getting married to that particular person?
oh, I think she was just nervous. No, they loved each other. I mean, I've seen couples that hey, they're just I think they're just nervous because they're not sure. No, she was just nervous. I think that the longer I've been in this industry, one of the things that it gets worse every year. Um, there's this pressure. I always tell people you can have a fun wedding or you can have a perfect wedding, and you're probably not going to have a
Mhm.
perfect wedding. So have a
Yeah.
fun wedding. The pressure to have this perfect choreographed event, that's a lot of pressure, and the price tag keeps going up, and so it's not just the pressure to have a perfect day. It's a very expensive perfect day,
Yeah.
and so the whole like, hey, just like hand off. Don't be your own coordinator. That's the main thing I'll try to tell a bride is once you get to rehearsal, hand it off. Hand off the clipboard, hand off the plans, let your coordinator, let your minister, let them run things and just enjoy it. Just be there. And it's hard to tell me, like, hey, you need to attend your own event. Attend your event. You're not in charge of your event. You're not running it. Just attend it. You hired all these people. Let them do it. Just sort of be ignorant bliss. I mean, just kind of be up there. You don't answer questions. You're just there. You're just there to have a good time
Yeah.
and let people tell you what to do. So, and some people don't listen, unfortunately. Um,
That's
there was
very true. I
you what?
spent, I said that's very true. I spent the summer bartending for private events, majority of them weddings. And
Yep.
so everything you're saying is like you really get to see all of this like planning come down to it's like a 6 hour play basically for
Oh,
the
it
bride.
is. No, it is.
And you just get to see all these parts. And I think as the bartender, I get to kind of hear all the secrets between like the friendships and all of
Mhm.
that. And it's like a funeral too, like where you figure out everybody's secrets in that day because nobody's holding back because they feel that pressure and it like cracks that day.
Yep. It's hard. It is hard. And I tell people all the time, I say, listen, there's going to be people who are going to say all kinds of stupid stuff at your wedding. Funerals are a little bit worse, but yeah, weddings. I had a wedding one time, and I have no reason I have no idea why this mom chose to do this. Okay. But people say dumb things at weddings. And so this mother was fixing the bride's hair, her daughter. She was fixing her hair. And and why this happened, other than she saw it in a movie or just felt like this was the thing or just had no idea the gravity of what she was doing. She's putting like the baby's breath in her hair, in her braided hair, and out of her mouth, she says, "It's a shame because your dad's not really your dad."
What?
And the the daughter was like, "Mom, what are you talking about?" And she kind of covered her mouth real quick, but no, this man who had been her quote unquote father, that was not her birth father. And this mom decides at this moment, that's the moment I'm going to share this deepest, darkest, I've not told you for 24-year secret that this man who's about to walk you down the aisle, that's not really your dad. And so that one was late, and that was partly because everyone just sort of freaked out. Like, mom? And so all of a sudden there's this it was a soap opera. It was a literal like end of the season climax kind of all the secrets come out. But all of a sudden, yeah, she just decided, hey, this is not your dad. So I did the
First,
ceremony. I left on that one. I did not want to stay for the
There's almost like some like jealousy of like seeing her daughter have like
yes,
this
yes.
exactly.
thing
And that yes, that
have to ruin this.
yes, that happens frequently. There's a
Yes.
weird,
It
and I
is
don't want
such
to
a
be
weird dynamic.
yeah, it's a weird. I don't want to be stereotyped because but it's usually bridesmaids, sisters, moms, daughters, all of that. And there's a weird my wedding was better than yours. Oh, I can't believe you chose this place. Well, when we had our wedding, we did this and this and this. And it's almost like you're back in high school for a little bit. It's like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, please just stop. Just stop." So, um another one that I did that was just absolutely amazing. So, in Pittsburgh, I lived in Pittsburgh for about 10 years. And if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, beautiful city. Um, but there's a mountain. There's sort of the city sort of situated. There's three rivers that go around the city. There's bridges everywhere, but there's a mountain called Mount Washington, and there's what we call an incline railway. And I've seen a couple of these throughout the country, but this it's a railroad that basically goes up the mountain, like straight up the side of the mountain, which is kind of cool. And it's an incredible angle, and it's a big tourist attraction. All this, and so there's a lot of wedding stuff that happens on top of this mountain. So the cute idea was, hey, the wedding party's gonna ride up this mountain, and we're gonna have a wedding on the platform. And there's like a tourist platform, and they sort of cleared it out for this event. But on top of this platform, you can sort of see the whole city. There's like little viewfinders. You can put a quarter in. You can sort of look around and see things. And so they rode up to the top of this mountain and took pictures. Very cool. Very cool. Um, so we're having the ceremony, and my back is against the rail, and so the cityscape is behind me. This beautiful view is behind me, and I have the couple standing in front of me, and so everybody's seated looking at us. And they had told me before the ceremony, says, "Hey, it's our family tradition that the mothers hold the rings." I'm like, okay, that's cool. I never heard this. I've never heard of that one. But okay, that's fine. So instead of the ring bearer having a little box or something or a pillow, it's the moms. The moms hold these rings. I'm like, okay. So it comes time for the rings, and I said, "Can I have the rings? What do you bring as a sign of your promise? The rings." Um, and the mom it was his mom was holding his ring. Why? She's obviously nervous as well, but she kind of stands up and she just opens up her hand, and this ring flies out of her hand, and it bounces on the ground, ping, 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 and it falls off the platform,
Oh,
and it
snap.
falls hundreds of feet down. And everybody rushes to the edge. They're all looking. You cannot see the ring. To this woman's credit, she reaches over to her husband, the groom's dad. She pulls a ring off of his finger and hands it to me. And everyone's silent. So we finish the ceremony. And as soon as I pronounce them husband and wife, everybody bursts into tears. At least the mom bursts into tears. And so they rush back over. They're trying to see it. And are like, we're never going to find it. And it's apparently like this heirloom, expensive deal. So we had to go to the operator of the incline. And there's like a huge thing that's built into the mountain. It's like 4 stories inside the mountain. And so the mechanics had to bring a crew of people down 4 flights of stairs. And there's like a bat cave door that opens up, and they had all these guys in their suits down walking. They had to sort of stand underneath and figure out where the ring was, and they found it. It took about 30 minutes, but they found it, which was very very cool.
Wow.
Uh,
I'm like surprised by that. I thought for sure you were going to say they never found it.
yes, yes, nope. They found it, and it made the news. It made the newspapers. It was very cool. It was a very cool story. Um, but by far, my favorite story, and this happened to me when I was young. I'm 52, and so I've been doing this for a while. But when I was young, when I was just getting started, I was probably 23, 24, and I was just out of seminary. I was just, and I had only I'd done a few little small funerals. I'd done a few weddings, little chapel weddings, little courthouse things, things like that. So I had someone ask me to do their wedding, and I was very green. I did not really know the wedding world yet, but this place was a place called the Piedmont Driving Club, and I was living in Atlanta at the time. And the Piedmont Driving Club is probably one of the most prestigious golf clubs in the country. I mean, just the amount of money to get into it, it's ridiculous. So they're having their wedding there, and this was a 400-person event, and it was the kind of thing you walk in. There's like butlers in tuxedos, white gloves. The women were all wearing hats. Looks like a Kentucky Derby. There's a lady playing the harp in the corner. There were peacocks that were walking around, and I just could not figure that one out. Like, just who had like just trained peacocks? It looked like the Great Gatsby. It was just that kind of thing. Um, so this couple weeks before, they had asked me, they had asked me a couple questions. They said, "Hey, can we write our own vows?" And I didn't. No one had asked me that yet, but I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was talking about. So I said, "Of course, you can do whatever you want. It's your wedding." And then they said, "Can we keep them a secret from each other?" And again, I said, "Hey, it's your wedding. You can do whatever you want." And I should not have answered that way for either one of these. Um, so we're out on this
So,
beautiful
so
sort
they
of
mean to like keep a secret from you or keep a secret between the bride and the
between the bride and the groom. So they
okay.
wanted to surprise each other with the things they were saying. So they just didn't want anybody to hear them.
Okay.
Okay. So we're out on this platform, beautiful little, wedding venue area, and it's right by the tee box for the first hole of the 18, hole golf course and all this. Um, and they get to the vows, and they ask for the scrolls. I was like, oh gosh, this is awesome. And so the best man and maid of honor, they're carrying these scrolls like parchment paper. So they hand them to the bride and groom, and they start to unroll them. And I think this is very cool. That, like, they really thought this out. This is very original. Um, so she reads her vows, and they're very well done, very classy, very touching, very honoring. Honoring to him, honoring to her family, all of it. She gets a little teary. Beautiful, just a beautiful job. And then he reads his vows. And from the scroll, he reads, "You're hot, but you're also cool." And that was it. He
That
rolled
is
it
Oh my
up.
so
God.
He
embarrassing.
rolled it up at that point, and um, this girl, she was hot, but she was turning hot. Her face was turning hot. Her face turned fire hot, and mom's face turned fire hot. I could see grandma getting upset, and the guys all thought it was great. They're all standing next to him, like, oh, they just thought that was just the coolest thing. And her face turned so red, and you could just see like in her lips, just just holding it together. And we get through. So they do say I do. They do exchange rings. They kiss. At least I'm kind of looking to see if that's still a thing. And they get through all that stuff. And then the wedding party goes over to an area to get ready for the photographer. Everybody else goes into uh, the uh, the country club to begin cocktail hour. And when I walk over to them to join them, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing things you never want to hear on wedding day. I'm hearing, it's ruined. It's ruined. Or it's effing ruined. That kind of like she said it all. She said it all right there. And it was pretty terrible. So I didn't stay very long for that one either. And I still think they're married. I think they are still married to my knowledge. But
So I guess
Right.
as far as your perspective of the groom, was he like one of those kind of broy, like macho kind of guys that like
yes.
okay, yeah, I can that's
Yes.
completely
Well,
related
I think it
to
was a combination of two things. One, he was bro man, but two, I think he just forgot, and I think he just well, it was I won't say it was last minute because that was you had to at least think that out. That yeah. So if it was last minute, completely last minute, it probably would have been, you know what, I love you and you're great and whatever. He would have kind of rambled. But no, I think he intentionally did that one. And yeah, that's how he landed it. So,
I think my takeaway from like these stories in my experience, and it was like, don't improvise on
no. Oh,
your
gosh,
wedding day.
no.
But
No, no.
if something unpredictable comes up, you better know how to improvise.
Yes.
Because I think that's why I say, because a lot of these people they think they get that shock of like, things aren't going perfectly anymore and let it like damper their day or like the tone of the marriage or the event. And it's like if you could have just, said something witty or something in those moments, you could have saved the day.
Yes. Yes. And over time, I've realized if I have anything crazy now, I know how to pull the mic away or I it's weird. I have developed sort of this weird. I'm not a stand-up comic. I'm not that guy, but timing is everything. And if somebody
Uh-huh.
stumbles or says something weird, uh, you got to let it. You can't interrupt them, but you got to be able to recover from it very quickly. And so I've learned how to sort of try to fix it the best I can. Now, sometimes you can't. I mean, sometimes whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. I had one. They were sharing their vows, and it wasn't as bad as these, but um, they wrote their own vows, and they were kind of insistent. They just wanted to write their own vows, and they didn't want me to see them. And he wrote the way he wrote his vows was like, I love you. And the reason I love you is because you're not like my ex, because she was terrible and she was just mean and she was hurtful and she was just a jerk. So I love you because you're not her. I'm like, dude, that's not, that's not, that is
The
not,
bar so
no,
low.
no. You love her because she's her, not because, no. So, like, you're obviously still hurting over
yeah.
you've not recovered from that breakup, however long ago that was. You're still working that out in your mind. But yeah, I'm very particular now. It's like, hey, if you're gonna say your own vows, first of all, just know that's hard. That's a hard thing to do. Your nerves are already up. So, if you're gonna do like a first look, which is sort of the thing that they do now, say something then. Say something when you first see each other, and when you get to the ceremony, just do the repeat after me. I mean, it doesn't may not feel very original or creative, but that's not the moment for originality and creativity. It's for somebody like just get through it. Just really get through it. You're not going to remember. I've done so many weddings, and I've heard so many couples say, "I have no idea what you said. I have no idea what you said. I was zoned the whole time." And it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand that. Go back and watch the video. But, you put so much emphasis on these words that are being said. It's like really it's just the moment. Let the moment happen, and you sort of get carried by. And I guess the other thing I always tell people, hey, get a real minister, okay? Regardless of denomination, okay? Protestant, Catholic, whatever. Get someone who has done this before. Okay. A lot of times you'll have these internet ordained people who are doing weddings, or you get your cousin to do a wedding and they have no idea. And it looks cute on paper. It's very meaningful, I guess. But I don't have my cousin do my dental work, and I would not have my cousin do my wedding. It's like just have a professional do it who has seen things like I've seen things. Like, hey, I just know. I know what it looks like when someone's about to faint. And I've seen them. I've seen the brides faint, grooms faint, bridesmaids faint, and just you have to know what that looks like. And I always tell people, if I'm looking at you, but you're looking past me, then I kind of know. And then I'm going to reach out and I'm going to grab your shoulder real quick. And if that doesn't work, and then we'll go to part two. But just to have some experience under your belt, to know the difference. Hey, this is an indoor ceremony. It's an outdoor ceremony. This is in July. This is in October. Uh, all of that. So
Um,
get a real minister. I feel like Pinocchio when I say that, but uh, get a real minister. Somebody who's done this before. It's gonna make your day go a whole lot better, because you don't know what you're going to do necessarily, but just someone with experience can catch some of those things. So
for
I hope
sure.
some of those stories are helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the listeners are going to love all of them. I mean, it was one by one, so that was awesome. We haven't done something like that before. But yeah, David, thanks for coming on. But yeah, for our listeners, as always, make sure you subscribe and save. We're streaming anywhere you can get your podcasts. Make sure you follow us on social media as well. It's Romance Unraveled on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you have a story you'd like to share on the show, just like David did, you can reach out to me directly on one of the social media platforms and I will get you scheduled to come onto the show. Until next time.